and welcome back to Pages and Poor Decisions, where books and wine pair as perfectly as Ven and Zayden and Boss Babe Violet. I'm Samantha, and I've got my annotated chapters and wild theories ready to go. And this week, we're hailing all the way from Kansas City.
Hello.
Hey, high five.
We are actually doing this right across from each other, across the table. I'm Ashley. To decode the chaos, sip some Intrinsic Cabernet and probably get emotionally wrecked all over again because Rebecca Yaris has zero chill.
This is part 2 of our Onyx Storm breakdown with our intrinsic, delightful. We are going to be diving into chapters 21 through 42 today. And spoiler alert, things are going to get intense, like throwing the book across the room intense, or camping, as I like to call it, because, you know, camping is intense.
If you thought the storm was wild in part 1, just wait. We've got some serious what the fuck moments, betrayals, and plot twists swirling faster than the wine in our glasses.
So grab your copy of Onyx Storm. Since I was traveling, I have my Kindle version here. Pour yourself a generous glass of Intrinsic Cabernet Sauvignon. This is a different one that we had from last week. And join us for another round of drama, theories, probably some unhinged yelling, because let's be honest. Please keep in mind that we are covering this in depth. So if you have not read Onyx Storm or are worried about spoilers, please come back to this once you have finished. Consider yourself warned. This is Pages and Poor Decisions, where books hit hard and the wine hits harder. And no character is safe.
It's like we rehearsed that or something.
We definitely did not.
Just a friendly reminder, folks, this is a podcast not meant for little ears. We do not filter our language, and we do discuss adult themes. So in basic terms, it's not child-friendly.
Not child-friendly.
Cheers.
All right. Cheers. You got to pour your glass of wine.
Every time.
Are we able to reach across the table and
Let's do
cheers? It. Cheers. Oh, God. Cheers.
Cheers. Yes, it's quite large.
Mm.
Don't judge me.
You have less refilling to do. Yours is more full than mine. Good for you. It is intense. That is camping. The wine
is bolder than the last one. The last one was a red blend, and this is a cab. It is quite delicious. Smooth. So obviously a lot happened in the first third of the book that we covered. For those of you that were following along, we're picking up on chapter 21. Violet and her badass self, she finally got her way with her own squad after that very terrible failed mission to Anka with 2 dead. So we officially now have Quest Squad with Riddick. So Quest Squad, they are heading to Deverelli. They make it to Athman, stop and rest, and then the last part of the flight, they go to Corden to meet with Takaris, or Jeff Goldblum's place. So the Griffins with Kat and Drake, Kat's cousin, they have struggled because they've been carrying these baskets. Yes, baskets. Picnic baskets containing Prince Halden and Captain Anna Windshire, his personal guard, which I think they got a little something going on. So I'm loving the memes out there. The little prince in a basket with oh my gosh, I'm dying. I'm just dying. They land, awkwardly get out of them. No one helps them.
Didn't one of them trip and fall?
Anna tripped on her way out. Yeah. Nobody help her. So Segale takes off. We don't hear anything from her for almost the entire book, to be honest. She's there, but she doesn't talk.
But we don't really hear from her until we get to Zayden's point of view. There's no happy little mind circle going on.
Right. She's pissed.
Yeah, I get it.
But she's going along with it. So Zayden debates sleeping outside in the already drained pit that they had their stupid venom off back in Iron Flame when Takaris was like, will you show me some of your lightning? Bam, here's the venom. So she's like, you are not sleeping out here. He's like, well, I'd just be safer if I did that. So Takaris, he's still got Zayden's room. He's like, I still have your room made up. And he's like, we're kind of tight for space here. So can you guys like double up? And Violet's about to pass out from exhaustion. And she's like, Taryn, would you still have me if I crawled up the stairs? And Zayd is like, you're not going to crawl. She's like, oh, shit. That was the wrong bond. I really am exhausted. Zayden at this time works Halden up in a tizzy. He's like, who am I here? Am I Duke? Am I Professor? Am I just part of the squad? Who am I? And he's like, where the fuck you mean? Of course you're Duke. No, you're not a goddamn professor. He's like, great. Scoops up Violet and just brings her to her room. I love that part. It just really riles her up or him up. And then, so they go to their room and then just like, oh, fucking finally. Yeah, they get to sleep together. Yay. Then a minute later, Takaris comes over, knocks on the door, and he's like, the prince cannot arrive in a basket. In a picnic basket. Okay. We didn't know how else to get him here. Dragons didn't want to carry him. So he's like, I will ride with Halden and his captain in one of my personal vessels, my boat. We will sail for Deverelli and we'll meet you guys there. And we're like, okay. So Takaris also tells him, hey, you know, this guy is a lot. Don't make a deal you cannot keep. And I think that's gonna be important. So they get to the coast of Deverelli. Magic fades. So no one has bonds to their dragons. And we notice that a lot of the greenery is muted, like faded green. So the magic, I guess, just takes the color from the place since they don't have any. And what's weird is that Andarna and Taryn and Violet all still have their bond. She's like, I don't think anyone can speak to each other. Why do we still do this? I'm also thinking that Zayden can talk with Sigale, but she can't talk to Zayden mind to mind. So that's cut off. And
so you think he can communicate with her, but she can't communicate with him?
I think so. I think it's because he's getting stronger. And I think that Venom bond is him being able to do that with her.
Interesting.
Because also, why does Violet have her bond still when no one else does? Not even the Griffins. I don't know. So Taryn also can't speak with Sigale. It's very odd. But super hot there. It's muted lands. And Darna's like, I want to eat this dolphin. And then she goes prancing in the water. So we remember Professor Trissa. She is from Erasia. She was the one that taught the runes class. And she gave Mira the runes to test in a non-magic location. So she's like, hey, Violet, hold on to this quartz rune for me. It's a sun-blocking rune so you don't get burnt. We're just trying to see if some of the stuff works here, you know? So she's like, puts it in a little pocket, carries it with her. And Halden is the only one that's allowed to meet with King Cortland of Deverelli. He will not meet with anyone who's not of noble birth. So he goes, has his meeting. Everyone's resting, yada, yada. Zayden's staring off at the beach like, I like it here. I'm relaxed and I'm at peace. So he's like, I just stare off in the distance. You go on up to the room, love. I'm just going to stare at the water and ponder my existence for a little while.
Kind of like how I felt at the end of the book.
Right? That's exactly what you said. So he said his heartbeat is slower. He's calm. Everything's empty from his brain. He's just smiling. Like, who is this Zayden? It's very odd. He's like, there's no magic here, no power, no lure, no taunting reminder that I can save everyone if I just reach for it and take what's offered. It's just peace. I will go up to the mansion and get some rest. You do whatever you need to do. Come back to me when you're ready.
After they've had their little bit of rest, they're heading off into the market area, and Halden's meeting with the king, and they're riding horses into the market. And Riddick, being Riddick, and he's like, this is such a ridiculous way to travel while riding a horse. And he's like completely uncomfortable. And they're like, you ride a dragon, like a horse can't be that bad. And of course, they're all like dressed head to toe in like their rider black, their swords strapped to their backs and daggers everywhere, just look real menacing. And I think all the flyers are in their brown leathers. Also, I feel like wearing leather while in extremely hot temperatures, the chafing.
Do they have? Please tell me they have deodorant.
I don't know. So they're riding through, finding their way through the merchants. Violet's like, oh my gosh, like spices and smells. And was it Riddick that was like, does anybody else feel like we live in a shithole? Was that Riddick
Yeah.
that said that?
Yeah. They do. I mean, it's like if you're modern times and then where they live in Beskay, it's basically like the Renaissance. You're like, what? Do we go to the bathroom in a privy or?
Oh my gosh, yes. Xaden is super not awkward, but it's like his demeanor while there, it's throwing everybody off, and they're staring at him like he has grown 10 heads.
Yeah, because he's like, didn't you guys ride horses growing up? And he's like asking Dane questions of all people.
Yeah, Dane's like,
is this the same guy?
What is happening here?
Did he break his head?
Yeah. And they stop at a cloth merchant. They're outside all hanging out on their horses. People are yelling at them, Firebringers! So they're outside, and she like looks over and sees this bunch or bolt of shimmering black diaphanous silk that looked almost silver. That was the description in the book. And obviously it's the Deverelli silk.
Of course. Yeah.
So they stop. He's sliding off the horse. He goes over to her and he said something about, Orisha. I love Orisha second most, but the most beautiful thing is my home. And he's like gazing lovingly at Violet, and everybody's like, yeah, like, ew, get a room. So
yeah, please.
He's like, okay, well, I'm going to go in here and try to get some information from this cloth dealer, and looks at Dane and is like, let's go Crovelish.
Because he can speak Crovelish.
He can speak Crovelish. Yeah. That whole scene was just very funny. And then comes out later, he's got like this little black velvet pouch, tucks it into his pocket. And he's like, okay, yeah, she's a dealer of rare books. They're just 2 streets up the hill here. He's like, good job, Atos. And everybody's like, what is happening here? He's like, wait, me? Sure. But yeah. Did you give him some drugs? Like, what's going on with this guy?
Like,
so they get to the shop, and it's called Tomes and Tales, which feels very Harry Potter to me.
Tomes and Tales.
Tomes and Tales. Stifling hot bookshop, like, Violet's used to the archives where it's very temperature controlled, underground, like fire suppressed, and they're all like, oh my god, like, why is it so hot in here? They have giant windows with like sunlight pouring in.
You know what I imagine when you said the chafing and the leather? Do you remember that episode of Friends where Ross is wearing leather pants?
Yes.
That's what I was thinking when you brought that up.
Okay. That was a very delayed reaction.
I didn't want to interrupt you.
Yeah, I appreciate the insight there. Yep. Very funny. So they go in and they ask for Norel, and there's a 40 or 50-year-old woman that's sitting there at the desk, and there's like random people staring around. They're lurking, and of course the riders all get into this weird formation. You got Xaden's like trying to hide in the shadow of a bookshelf in the bookshop. Very, very weird. Violet's like, what's gonna happen? It's a bookshop. Are the books gonna attack us? Oh man. Well, they do get attacked. Very weird. Or they said the Firebringers would only ask for Norel. So an older man that came out, and
from behind
like,
the stack,
the chair, and knocks him out of the way. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm not the one you should be afraid of. It's her, meaning Violet. And Violet's like, dagger, dagger. Dagger, 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 dagger.
Hammer time.
Did you say hammer time? Da-na-na-na-na. Just kidding. Okay. So this old woman comes walking down the staircase, assessing them. And Violet's like, oh, you're Norel. And the old woman's like, you must be Asher Sorengill's daughter, here to collect the books he wrote for you. So this is a 93-year-old woman. Thank God she's still alive, because like at 93. And she's like, what is it you Amorales say?
Amorales?
I have not yet met Malik. Amorales?
Amorales? And she's like, what does that mean?
And then Violet clarifies that the Deverelli don't worship gods. They believe in science.
Mm-hmm.
And Norel continues on and says, what you call gods, we call science. What you call fate, we call the divine intervention. What you call love, alchemy.
Alchemy. Which is like 2 substances, combined to make something entirely new. Not unlike what's between the 2 of you.
She points to Violet and Xaden. And then she's like, I have to admit, that kind of violence isn't what I pictured when Asher talked about you, because she was training to be a scribe. And she looks over at, Xaden and is like, he described you almost perfectly, Dane Atos. And you got Mira's over there, like, keeling over, laughing, like Dane Atos. The memes I've seen on this one, hilarious.
Yeah.
Xaden and Dane have like their little banter moment for a second, and he's like, well, she'll be taking my last name. Okay, Xaden. And then they're like, no, this is Xaden Ryerson.
Really just dagger Dane, man. He didn't ask for this. Jeez.
And so Norel obviously knows them. She's like, you're Fen Ryerson's son. Didn't see that one coming. And then she continues to tell them that your father risked all of your lives to hide away his life's work for only Violet to find. Left it with her almost 4 years ago, stating that if Violet attained the intelligence and understanding that she would need to comprehend it, only Violet would be able to get it. And one of the things that was in the first journal that was in General Atos's office now had said that you bring your most prized possession. And so she's like, okay, well, I got to figure out like what it is. Okay, great. I have something completely rare. I have it in my satchel, brought it all the way. It's heavy, big, giant bag. She realized like once she was there, it's not a physical object. It was her mind. And so Norel is like, yes, that is correct. You need to answer these 3 questions in order to get these books so that I know that you know what you need to know to get these books.
You know that I know that we know.
So she asked her what the title of the manuscript was and what was in chapter 14 about. Even with Onyx Storm or Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, the amount that we've read, and they're like, what about chapter 47? And be like, huh?
You mean the sex chapters? I'll do that one. 49?
There are a few, yes. So chapter 14 is what were the Crovelish and Deverelli trying to broker? And it was dragons. And she had to convince Dane, after they're wandering down memory lane, he accepts it, understands it, and is like, okay, yeah, I believe what she has to, what she's saying. I don't like it. I believe it. And she's like, oh, wait until you realize that your dad knows. My dad's book has something to do with Feathertails, which means dad knew to stop trusting him at some point. And then Dane's just like, just another knife to the heart. Poor Dane. This poor guy's dad's like, you're no son of mine. And then realizes that his dad has some larger role in the stuff that's going on. And so the last question, she said, why did you leave the prince? And your father knew it wouldn't last. I'd like to know what the final straw was. Violet's like, well, I left him because I found him in a delicate situation with one of his professors, aka he was cheating on me. And Norel's like, oh, so you left him in a jealous rage, even with the crown of Navarre in your hands. She's like, I never saw a crown. She's like, and besides, he didn't love me, not in the way I deserve to be loved. And no amount of power is worth staying with someone who doesn't love you. So she gets the books, and Mira's like, well, I'll carry them for Violet unless you think my dad will have a problem with that, like real salty. Mm-hmm. She's like, I promise not to read them or anything. It's like, okay. So Norel is like, that reason right there is why he left them to Violet. And she's like, we all have a part in what's coming. And while Colonel Daxton or Sorengale Asher was busy raising Violet, your mom was raising you. And she's like, I wonder what legacy you've inherited and what's to come, essentially. And they leave with the 6 tomes. All have a passcode while they get back to Kars's place. So Violet's just soaking in the tub, just having a glorious time. Where the hell is Aiden? Like, we have alone time. He goes and uses Riddick's bathroom because he wanted to give Violet space or whatever. Comes back and sees her soaking in the tub naked. And he's like, what you doing? And asks her if she's feeling recovered enough, making sure that she's not dizzy or sore or tired. So does his increased intrinsicness pick up on that? And he's like, I just want to make sure you're not sore and tired. And And then, you good? Yeah. So they're having their little sexy time, and about fucking time. We called for venom sex, although I don't know if you can really call this venom sex, but because there's no magic. So she's just like, I don't know if I can respect the whole no sex boundary because I want to, obviously do all the things. And he's like, there's no magic here. And she's like, but I just don't want it. And he's like, hello, there's no magic here. And she's like, get it. So they have like their sexy time. They break a table. Good for you. And then they're like, obviously there's no sound shield, and everybody in the whole mansion can hear them. And then after a while, there's like knock, knock, knock at the door, and everybody's like, hey, here's the deal. We have a problem. Halden's being held hostage by King Cortland, so I think we gotta go. Maybe they just have like such great sex. People are like, yeah, I gotta be a part of this on the outside.
So there's an excerpt to this next chapter where they said the study in the anatomy of the enemy from Captain Dominic Pritchell. They said in the first 24 hours of removal from source magic, an ASIM, second level venom, presented as even-tempered, but withdrawal quickly revealed the subject's true nature, requiring the subject's immediate transfer from stage 2 of the study. So they're studying venom back in the day. So no, they were never gone. Her results can be found with Group 3B under a category of death by fire, and then subsequently Group 6C under the category death by poison. So they find out that they cannot be killed by fire, and then she was killed by poison, which begs the question, what the true nature of this ASIM was, and the fact that they were even tempered for a while, how that progressed, and the fact that she was killed by poison. What poison?
Well, and remember at the I think at the beginning of the book, Jack is like, control is the first thing that goes. So you might be able to stay in control for a little bit. That could be that even temperedness, but like that can quickly just, and I think, we see little snippets of that with Xaden throughout the book.
Right, because he is struggling. Yeah. So, okay, at this point, and I'm sure that will be something that's important for later. After they leave Takars's mansion on Deverelli, they go to the palace where King Cortland is. They're met with unfriendly soldiers. The one soldier's like, you may not enter. Xaden's like, I'm Xaden Ryerson, Duke of Tyrandor. He's expecting me. And this looks Violet up and down. She is my consort. She's like, what? The girlfriend name is missing that permanent tone. And she's like, what? It's like, plus, it gives you the protection and privileges of my title, so don't worry about it. I don't need protection. It's like, ouch, I never thought you'd reject me. Violet's like, this isn't the time for jokes. He's like, okay, well, when would be the time? So he's been thinking about this the whole time?
I love sappy Xaden.
Oh yeah. So when would be the time? Yes. Okay. So they arrive to find a very shockingly young looking King Cortland. Like, I think we all imagine him to be some old dude. And an enraged Halden. Anna Windshire's nowhere to be found. Takars is in the corner, like cowering, like he's just scared he doesn't want to be there. And Violet immediately looks at Halden. She's like, what did you do? He's just like, well, he was trying to negotiate with him. So he wanted permission of Takars's manor there to stage their launch for search mission to look for Darna's breed. They wanted an alliance with Deverelli, and he offered some artifact that we don't know what it is. And when that wasn't enough, he offered, and Cortland's like, something that was not his to give. With him so dagger into his hand in through the table, and he's like, ah! And everyone else is like, oh shit, this is serious. My God. So what we have seen kind of thrown about the internet is that King Cortland could be related to Xaden, and maybe he has the right to this item. I guess we will find out. But Xaden's like, that's because it's mine. And he pulls out this ancient like dagger. It's like a silver handle with emeralds the size of your fingernails on the hilt. And it's the blade of Horatia.
No, I think it was the same dagger that Cortland stabbed Halden in the hand with.
Oh, it might be.
I think it was because he had the dagger was already there.
Brought it to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like,
Okay.
I think it was the same dagger that he stabbed in his hand and was like, clean yourself up.
Clean yourself up. So he's all pissed off. And then out of nowhere, he's like, my babies have arrived. And then we're like, what? Your children? Right. But there's like 3 large, pure white panthers start prowling through, trying to intimidate them. And the captain, like the guards come out and they bring these silver platters and they bring raw meat to feed the cats, the little kitties, kitty cat snacks. And Zayden's like, I will negotiate in Halden's stead. And he tries to do the exact same thing. And Cortland's like, you know what? I don't know. Where does your loyalty actually lie? Is it with King Tori? Is it with Navarre, Aracia? If you're going to swear it to me, you're kind of wishy-washy. I don't know if I want to, you're a rebel's child. I don't know if I want to make a deal with you. And then Violet at that time, she's like real nervous. She pulls out her conduit from her pocket and she's like, yeah, it's just like an automatic, as I'm trying to like put my hand in my pocket to reach for lightning. And she's like, oh, that's right. There's no magic here. But she says, I feel like there's a faint hum in this. So maybe there is. And she has some part of that because she can also talk to her dragons. I don't know. But she puts it down anyway. Zayden's like, well, my loyalty lies with Violet. She is first and foremost above everything and everyone. She is my home. And sometimes my loyalty lies with Navarre in moments that it's worthy. And so he's like, okay, that's an honest answer. I understand that. So he considers it. And then he's like, you know what? My babies can eat. Here's some raw meat. Here's some raw meat. And they're like, nom, 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 nom.
But like, aren't like the plates like in front of them and they pull the lids off and then all of a sudden like Violet's like face to face with a panther like eating meat?
Yes. So they describe it. So she's next to Zayden and it's like the guys come in between them and sets it down like right there. And then like this like panther comes in and I was like,
right, but like, oh my God, don't eat me.
It's like in your ears, like drooling probably. And you're like, don't move. So there's another one that they placed in front of them on the table. They open it up and it's Anna Winshire's head.
What you do?
They're like, fuck. Like, what? Why? She was caught in my treasury stealing some shit that doesn't belong to her. And Halden's like, those are items of mine received for services rendered over the last century, as you well know. What goods and services have you been trading? Because I thought trades with Deverelli was cut off decades ago. What have they been trading?
But also it was 6 stolen treasures.
There were 6 stolen treasures. Another 6. So at this point, they accepted priceless magical artifacts under unfair terms. Interesting. It's very interesting.
Wait, they were magic?
Yes. Those were the trades that they had that even though they thought trading with Deverelli was cut off, I think it was hundreds of years, not centuries. And it says, they said they accepted it and they were priceless magical artifacts under unfair terms, which I don't understand. Very interesting. So Zayden tries to quickly make a deal with the dagger and Violet's like, no, I got this. And Halden's all pissed and whatnot. And Cortland finally is just like, I've heard enough. Everybody, just kill them. Just kill them now. Kill them all. So there's swords fighting, dagger. And she's like, try not to kill anyone. We need this alliance. So, but Violet like gets shoved. She gets a little beat up. And Zayden's like, oh, hell no. They're fucking dead. They're all dead. So he whips his arm around Violet's waist, yanking to her chest. During this time, her orb has been broken during this
her conduit.
I keep calling her orb. Her whatever. Her conduit was broken during this whole kerfuffle. And at this point, Zayden pulls her in tight, and then she hears screams, and all of the guards just drop and all of their weapons. And she realizes after her conduit had shattered, Zayden had grabbed a piece of it, and he was channeling power from it. And shadows went out and just knocked everyone the fuck out. And Violet's like, fuck, you just channeled. No. She's like, you sit down, put your head in your hands, and don't look at anyone. He's like, okay.
She got like real bossy.
She was real bossy. I like bossy Violet. So she's like, you sit down. Don't worry about it. You go get the others. Halden, clean your fucking self up.
Shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up. And she's like, you, Cortland, you and I, we're going to negotiate. So she asked Indarna to come in and she's like, be gentle. She's like, do I critique your work?
No, I like that she was like, here's my little one.
Here's my little one, Indarna. So she waltzes in with Shira, one of the Panthers, dangling from her mouth. Indarna, not Violet, obviously. So it's dangling. And so she has like her claws tucked safely so that she doesn't claw her or whatever. Anyway, so she's got her lips puckered. So I'm like imagining her just going, my jaw's getting tired. My jaw's getting tired. And she's trying not to drench her in saliva. So Violet's like, okay, you're going to do a deal with me. She goes, Zayden, you go to Raisha and get yourself right. And so he's pardoned. And she goes, I don't understand this one part. He has his head down the whole time. Then he walks outside. And this is like an outside area where they're meeting. Like it's not in a building. And he's walking off. She watches him. He's walking off. Once he passes Indarna, he's like,
yeah. Just like, he's just a smug asshole. And that's what she said. She's like,
he just walks away like a smug son of a bitch that he is. But
she loves him.
She loves him. So she goes, because you provoked him, you the citrine, that gem we talked about, as payment for this alliance, but you will be compensated for the prince's crimes because he obviously, Anna stole some shit. And she pulls out a dragon eggshell from Indarna. Perfect, thank you. And
I guess it would be more like,
if you're not watching this, I have a giant golden egg and Sam just opened it up.
Here's the eggshell for you.
Here's this eggshell. It's Indarna. She agreed to give it to you for this alliance. And it's to sweeten the deal. And Cortland's like, okay, as long as he never steps foot on my isle again, pointing to Halden. She's like, done.
Don't even think about it.
So then after that, he goes, Violet, if you're amenable, there's another trade I might broker for you. And she's like, I'm listening. What's the deal? What was the deal?
We find out in the next chapter.
Then there's an excerpt from Unbriel. This is the next isle that they go to. It's the Isle of Dune. And Dune, as we know, is the goddess of war. So it's the Isle of Dune by Second Lieutenant Asher Daxton.
Daxton, you say?
Daxton. Asher Daxton.
The same, well, he wasn't a lieutenant. Colonel Daxton's Guide to Excelling in the Scribe Quadrant.
Rebecca does not repeat names. Asher, is this her dad? Did he change his name? Is he from Unbriel? Also reminds me of what Lilith Sortingale said in Fourth Wing, that Sortingales are writers. So maybe that wasn't his original name. Maybe he took her name.
Maybe he took her name. You might be right.
Yeah.
They're back in Basgaia. And of course, Violet's like worrying. She's like, oh my God, like, I hope Zayden's okay. I don't know how long it's going to take for him to feel better. Because, you know, he
got to get himself right.
Got to get himself right with Jesus. You know what I mean? So they're in battle brief and she's rehashing to second squad, her core group, of what happened. And she is like extremely exhausted, mentions her sensitive stomach and seeing double vision. And like reading through this whole book, I legit thought she was pregnant.
When you told me that when we were tandem reading, I was like, she better effing not be, because I'm gonna be pissed.
There's just
I don't want another Bella Edward situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And she did confirm that no, it would not be wise to bring a child into this situation. But Rebecca has been known to lie to us.
She told that, yeah, she in an interview, one of her stand-up interview deals. What do you call those?
Stand-up? She a stand-up comedian now?
No, what's it called?
An interview?
It is an interview, but it's in front of everybody.
It's a sit-down in-person interview. Live audience. Anyways. A third year, they're in battle brief, a third year Signeeson flyer is sitting in front of them. And
Signeeson, if you don't know.
Signeeson is a paromial province.
Yeah.
In Romeo. And they were, so at the beginning of the book, Violet was trying to get the Signisan flyers to be able to come to Basgaev to continue to learn and train and whatnot.
Which was part of, their treaty with Cormier.
Yeah. So the flyers all arrived while they were in Deverelli. So they're in this battle brief. It's like full to the brim. There's standing room only. So this third-year Signisan flyer is sitting in front of them. And he keeps looking back because they're talking about the mission and what happened. And Riddick's like, well, hello, Signisan.
Because he's like, can you guys keep it down?
Yeah. And the guy turns around and is like, I don't do second years. And Riddick's like, well, good thing I fuck like a third. I was like, it's probably my favorite line in this entire book. And then he's like, plus I'm on Quest Squad. Quest Squad. Quest Squad. He's like, which gives me a additional boost of desirability.
The guy like raises his eyebrows like, oh, look at that, fuck like a third.
Yeah. And Devera is like, hey, is there something more important going on over here than what we're trying to discuss?
Got called out by the teacher.
Getting called out by the teacher. Riddick's like, Vi's just over here like saving the continent. Was that Riddick? Was it Riddick that said that? No big deal. NBD. Violet's just saving everybody. It's fine. And Devera's like, is that so? What happened? Kat is saying that, yeah, Violet made everybody visit like this old dusty bookstore. So exciting. Great trip.
Oh, like
Devera, of course, is sitting over there. She's like, yeah, that sounds about right for Violet. Yeah, the books. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they don't want to tell them what actually went down.
Yeah, and they were talking about the Venin somehow knew that the Aretian wards were failing because the way that their movement is going towards the southeast.
On the map, yeah.
And Violet's like, well, they obviously know because they're not trying to stay here to get to the Vale. They're going to try to go from a different direction because you have Theophany obviously knows where Violet's going to be. So,
yeah.
Inside intel. Violet's training with Imogen still. She's just pushing herself to the limit.
Dude, she's book. A workhorse.
Yeah. She goes and trains by herself for an hour every day. And
I mean, if you know that you're the only one that can save the world,
that's true.
You got to be ready.
I love Andarna's presence in this book and her just quippy sarcasticness and always complaining that Taryn is the worst, obviously.
He is the worst.
He's the worst. She spends time with Dane a lot, decoding the books, and which they didn't really go into them figuring out what the other 6 codexes were. I'm calling it codex because Da Vinci Code.
What we just learned yesterday was that she had them in there, but her editors told her to cut it out. And she's like, okay, I guess it's not really conducive to the story.
That and like Dane's adventure going into his dad's personal quarters to get the box, like that was cut out of the book too. We don't get that information. So sorry, folks. She realizes that Mira has taken personally like the whole like journal Deverelli thing,
personal time.
Yeah, and she took time off for the first time in her career and just kind of like pieced out. Like Violet didn't know where she's at. Like hasn't seen her in like a week or something like that.
What that lady said in the bookstore really pissed her off.
But it's like, don't be mad at Violet.
My dad didn't trust me. Grow up.
Yeah. Go back to Signet sparring. Cody and Garrick, I think we're sitting together and Violet was right behind and she like leans over and she's like, hey buddy, got a question for you. What's your second signet?
What's your second signet, Bodhi?
And he's like, huh? Nope, I don't have one. Just like Zayden. Like looking at Garrick sideways, like, yeah, I don't. So obviously he knows Garrick has a second signet.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's lying.
I think he has one.
I think he has one. I think all marked ones have one.
I think so too. There's speculation that most of the marked ones were chosen by their dragons.
It said that in the book that their dragons sought them out
and have possibly been bonded to a previous descendant or one of their, family member.
All of them?
I don't think all of them, but that's what is floating around out there. I just assumed that they all had a second signet because when they watched their parents get killed, they had those runes, and then the dragons that burned them gave them all relics, and I think that was their first,
Yeah. Yeah. I think Bodhi's lying there.
I think he's got something.
Yeah, I think he does too. Maybe he's a type of intrinsic. We don't know.
Yeah.
So the first year enters the mat with a third year newly appointed wing leader, Timon.
Yeah, Timon Kagiso. He replaced Aura Benhaven,
Who is also a fire wielder.
Yeah, who died.
So they're like, oh, here, we just need another fire wielder.
Must be super fucking common.
Yeah. So Sloane and the other first years come like shuffling into, and they're like, hey, it's like we want to help. Like what it's like they're trying to do like a drug deal or something. Like,
can we part?
Hey, what do we
help with? Is being all secretive and shit. I was thinking more like they're like, I want to be part of the cool kids club. Like this is the cool kids, and they're like, anyone wants to be a part of it. They're like, just because we're younger, we want to be a quest squad. It's the second tier quest squad.
She's like, okay, fine. Here's some fucking books. Read them and write me a book report. And they're like, wait, what?
Well, Sloane's like, okay. And then like everyone else is like, are you fucking kidding me? This is not what I signed up for.
Also, I think there was like a little like side-eye action when Dane shows up, and Sloane like kind of gets a little flush, like with like the side eye to Dane. So like she like loves him, I think.
Well, hates because of Liam.
Right. But I think she's got like a massive crush on Dane. Because,
according to the lady Norel in Deverelli, Bezguy at Orton of Art has a lot of hot people. Yeah. So I assume Dane is also very hot.
I mean, just look at all the AI images of him. I mean, he's like the boy next door hot. Not like Xaden, bad boy hot.
He could be a step up from that. I feel like boy next door was like Liam.
Liam was like Baywatch hot. Like he like
too hot,
surfer.
Too hot for your own eyes. You're like, shit.
Well, so like Arik, aka Cam, is there and asked how the mission went, and Violet's like, oh, it's Halden just doing fucking Halden things.
I love that part. I fucking love that.
Stupid Halden. And so he's like, hey, Violet, are you in over your head? She's like, no. And he's like,
I see you.
Mm-hmm.
I see you.
The group tries to figure out how the trip to the Southern Isles will go. They're trying to map it out, and they're looking at weather patterns and wind patterns. And, well, if you fly here on this day, the wind is going to be like this. How they know? Like, they must have access to, like, the Weather Channel or something for wind patterns. Yeah, I don't know. So they're like, the only way this is going to work is if we go to Deverelli, go to Unbriel, and then continue going on from island to island, because it doesn't make sense to go to Deverelli, fly to Unbriel, go back to Deverelli, and then fly to Hedotis or whatever, because it's further and further away each time, and it gets harder and harder for the dragons.
It's like, do you want to go one place and then check in one place, come back, check in another place, come back? That's a waste of time.
Yeah. So they're like, okay, what we're going to do is treason, because we're supposed to come back and check in, and we're just going to go. Also, it's going to cut down significantly on time, because if they're spending all this time flying back and forth, going to check in, flying back and forth, going to check in, they said it was going to take like 4 months or something like that. They're like, okay, well, how do we do this as quickly as possible? And they're all like, fuck the rules. Like, Vad's like, fuck the rules. Her fuck field is barren. No fucks.
Bodhi's like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? And then she's like, we don't have time. Xaden's eyes.
Oh, right. That's right. Because so now they're not, when they returned back, the red disappeared. They're no longer gold flecked. They are now amber flecked. And so she's like, shit, someone's going to notice. But I don't know how many people are actually like longingly staring into Xaden's eyes and going to notice like the slight tint from gold to amber. I don't know. So Bodhi hands her 2 vials of the signet blocking serum and then 2 of the antidote. And he's like, but you need to take Garrick with you. You might need him to like distance walk while you're out doing whatever you're doing. This is all while they're in Signet sparring, having this conversation, and this Kagiso Tamlin, not Tamlin, but might as well be Tamlin. Tamlin, he erupts fire and he's burning a second ear, and he's yelling at her to fight back. Well, she is down on her hands and knees because she can't, and I think she just recently manifested.
It was like Pan Check Your Car that were like, wield!
Right. So she's down, and then inadvertently like channels from, well, I think inadvertently. I don't think she was a Venom. I think this was like a first time, and then they immediately kill her for it.
She wanna die.
Yeah, everybody's like, oh, what the heck? Like, everybody leaves. 10 days later, they're going to their Isle trip where they're not going to return, and
I mean, they will return,
but not when they're supposed to, and be treasonous little
menaces.
They're going to be menaces.
Let's be menaces.
So they've added 2 flyers to their mix. So we have Traeger and Marin. So we know who Marin is, and then I think we've had limited interaction with Traeger at this point.
He's one of the flyers.
Yeah, he's in love with Kat. Mira comes back. She's very like broody and cryptic. Halden wants to join, and they lie, and they're like, "Oh, we're just gonna go to Unreal. It's fine. You can just like stay here." He's like, "No, I'm going." Halden's like, "You got to get out of my face, Zayden." And he's like, "Why don't you go scurry into your little basket? Fuck off, Zayden." Yeah. Well, you're just gonna be sitting in your basket here on the flight field by yourself because no one's taking you.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Malvik lands. And Violet's like, Arx dragon. Violet's like, shit. Like, Zayden's like trying to pull up shadows to hide him. She's like, what the fuck are you doing here? He's like, no, I am going. Goes out there, and Halden's like, where the fuck you been? You're supposed to be out touring the continent like fucking people for your 21st birthday or whatever the hell it was. And he's like, yeah, I'm doing my duty. The hell are you doing?
If you don't remember from the first third, we find out Halden is the twin of the other brother that was killed by Zayden for bullying Garrick during threshing. So he's the older brother of Arik, because there were 3 sons of King Tori. So he's the oldest one. And Arik has been missing because he's not supposed to be at Besgaiath.
Well, they don't really know that I don't think they knew that he was missing because they thought he was out like on his
dancing around in brothels.
Yeah, on his like 21st birthday tour or something. Yeah.
First birthday tour.
Arx is like, well, I'm a prince, so I'm going to go speak for Navarre. And Halden's like, hell no, you're not. And Arx like, okay, yeah, well, good luck getting anyone, a griffin, dragon, anybody to carry your little basket again. Halden's like, don't let anything happen to him. But it's like, okay, so now you care. Okay, good, Halden.
Baskets.
Get out of here.
Baskets probably my favorite part. Man, Rebecca, thank you.
Best like visual in my head ever. So they fly to Aspin and then Corden before heading back to Deverelli, because Deverelli is, supposed to be their staging spot. They rest for a couple days, and then they head out to Unreal. So they notice that some of the runes work off the continent, especially like the one that's keeping her from being sunburned. And she's like, "Oh, this is kind of nice." The runes are the only thing that Mira is willing to talk to Violet about, which like Violet's like, this is super frustrating. And they finally get to the coast of Dune and the port city of, I don't even know how to say this, Sonoram. I don't know. I don't know where Rebecca comes up with these names, but like she's probably just like, she probably has the alphabet letters on her refrigerator. And she's
pick
just
something.
Like, this sounds good. Maybe she has her kids do it and is like arranging the letters. Yes, I'm going to use that word. It's the same muted green as Deverelli.
No magic.
No magic. I think it was even like a little bit slightly more muted green. I don't think it was the exact same. I think it was just slightly off. So they land, settle in, hope Art can meet with the queen quickly, and like they continue on their little search. She highly doubts that Anne Darna's kind settled here, especially like how painful it is for the riot being separated from magic. They still can't talk to each other with the exception of Violet, Taryn, and Darna. And then Violet notices Mira fiddling with like a black bracelet on her wrist, and She's like, I haven't seen that before. That's weird.
Interesting.
Yeah, and she's like, Mira mentions that Sigale hasn't hunted with the rest of the group, so Sigale's still kind of like keeping herself segregated from everybody, which is kind of weird. So she's like, is there like some kind of dragon drama going on?
Yeah, dude, she wasn't like hunting with him or anything.
Yeah, no, it's very weird. And she finally confessed that she went to go see their grandmother, their dad's mom, Nara, in Deaconshire. They haven't been in contact.
I thought Deaconshire was from a different fandom. That's why I laughed. I was like, oh, Lord of the Rings.
It's not the Shire.
I know. I'm sorry. My mind just blah.
I think it's Deaconshire.
I think it's Deaconshire.
I think it is Deaconshire. Yeah. So they haven't been in contact since Violet was born. And Mira said it was when her hair came in thick enough for a ponytail. And it wasn't the grandmother that cut off the relationship. It was mom and dad. So Lilith and Asher. And Mira mentioned that she should go see her and talk to her. And Mira's still being like a little cryptic. So obviously she knows stuff and is not sharing with Violet. Violet offered to let her, read Asher's journals that were left behind. And she's like, it's just mostly like bird talk. Birds are dying from too ripe berries, turning their beaks blue and such. Important.
Bird code.
Mira's like, nah, I'm good though. But so yeah, they all switch watches, settle in for the night to be awoken by a couple of warriors in Unreal.
Major Warriors Guide to Appeasing the Gods, 2nd edition. It is unwise to favor one god above another. Ooh, better to show them all than show favoritism amongst a jealous, prejudiced pantheon. I have more theories, and I need to save that for the theories episode. They're bombarded by a couple of platoons. Platoons of warriors at Umbriel, all similarly in size and stature with their muted green colored clothing. What?
Say similarly.
What did I say?
Similarly.
They're bombarded by a couple platoons of warriors, all similarly in size. You're not worthy of meeting our queen.
Wait, all their clothing was muted green too.
Correct. That's what I said.
No, that's what I'm just.
Yeah, they have muted clothing for sure. One of the soldier looks at Violet and says something about, in their language, about being the weak and smallest, and Dane's trying to translate, and he's like, he doesn't think you're, no, never mind. And he's like, fuck you. So, also, when have you ever seen Dane flip someone off?
I don't know, but I think Dane has redeemed himself at this point. He is okay in my book.
This is the first book, and I think we get to it later, that he actually says fuck. He hasn't said it before. So how do you know what Violet was thinking? Violet was trying to figure out what that the soldier was saying is weak, and she's like,
I think she has a tendency to like wear her emotions and or
that's fair
things on her face.
Dane also knows when you touch someone, and I'm wondering if maybe he's honed his signet as well.
They don't have any magic there, so he wouldn't be able to.
There's also so much power in him, which we will get to on the next episode as well. Yes, so he doesn't think you're, you know what, never mind. And I wonder if that's when it's odd. It's an odd occurrence. So how does he know that? Anyway, in order to be granted audience with their queen is to defeat the best in combat. Wow. To earn entrance to the court. Will this help or make it worse?
I don't know. But so you think combat because it's
trial by combat.
It's Umbriel, which is the island of June, the goddess of war. Mm-hmm. So they're like,
okay, this is different from Deverelli. Obviously, this is what we're trained for. So
we're dragon riders. We could do anything.
Dragon riders. Bringers. Sigale finally makes a scene, snaps her teeth at a soldier, like, and Zayden translates for her and says, she said to go get fucked.
Yeah, girl.
Hilarious. But also, does he just know, or do they have their bond? I'm just saying. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
she has it with Taryn and Darna. Does he have his with Sigale also? I'm just saying, because he said
he knew that they were in pain.
He knew that they were in pain on Deverelli. I I think that he still has a bond with Sigale on that. Is it the venenism, or is it because he's like Violet and they're just, this is something else I need to bring up later. But my whole thought during all of this is that I will bring up after this.
Yes, let's
Okay.
keep going. Unreal.
Oh, Umbriel. They said only half of the group can go. So she's like, okay, who do I pick? Mira's mad at me, but she's not going to help me. And she's like, just pick everyone and go. Zayden, obviously, Arik, Kat, Dane, and me. So, all right. Mini squad. My squad. Mira's like, so she turns to Mira, she goes, if we're not back by nightfall, burn the place to the ground. Good for you. So they go to the capital of Umbriel called Eastal, I think is Eastal. And they notice the buildings are like terraced cities, like circles, and all the roofs are in uniform pale blue. So not just the greenery, like they're pale blue.
So like no vibrant colors.
Anything was, if you had something of, a vibrant color, it would be drained immediately. Almost nothing. So she notices where they're going, the bottom row of buildings are manned with like a dozen crossbolts. So like
for dragons.
They obviously are scared of dragons, right? So
Deverelli also, like, they had crossbolts everywhere too.
Not that many. This one has more.
I know, but like there's something like my brain can't figure out.
Brain can't get there.
Yeah, like it can't. It like sees the things.
There's two wheels turning, but they're not together.
They're not together yet. They're like
I'm trying. There's something here. So she says on the next one, there's 8 on top. So there's a dozen here, 8 on top. And unlike Deverelli, they swing in all directions. So
they can go 360 degrees.
And so I'm thinking, Game of Thrones, it's, they know what's up.
Yeah.
They land on the third ring of the buildings that they're, Sigale right behind them, nearly scaring the shit out of all the soldiers. And she's like, and they're like, okay, yep, no, we won't fire. Yep, sorry. Why do you have these if you don't fire them? And all the men are like backing down, and Violet and Zayden are right there, like on that top area, like staying back to back, like, what threats do we have?
Yeah.
Where do we go? Violet's like, there's 24 of them, and there's only both of us. And then she thinks to herself in her brain,
her scribe brain,
okay, they have 2 stationed at every front door. And he corrects her. He's like, Sigale says there's 4. How does he know that if he doesn't have his magic? How does she know this? How does he know this?
Oh my God, I got to reread this again.
That's why I'm glad I did it. I did it again. So they don't have, do they have their bond? They never told anybody because they didn't tell anyone if they still have their bond. I'm not even sure did Violet tell him about Tyrion and Darna? Does he know that they have?
Yeah, she said, okay, I can still speak to Tyrion and Darna.
That she only told that to Mira. That's why I was confused. She only told Mira.
Well, Zayden's a full intrinsic, so
he fucking knows. Did he listen to her brain? He knows how many people. Her brain. His power's not gone at all. Is it enhanced? I don't know, because he accidentally channeled in Deverelli. I don't know.
Do you think she can read Sigale? And so maybe the bond's not there, but he can read her thoughts.
That's true, because you remember in Fourth Wing when Tyrion's like, don't try to read me, human. Maybe. But if you can't wield your signet to read someone...
He's venom.
Yeah, it's heightened it for sure. Okay. So they're brought to the plaza in front of the largest temple that Violet has ever seen. It's Dune's temple. And it has 6 wide pillars. 6 made of granite, polished stone, shimmering, and the light makes them pure, almost silver. Each one of them is carved.
Silver, you say?
Silver. So each one of them is carved in a different symbol. Sword, shield, fire, water, claw, and book. She's like, are these tools of warfare? Think about it.
Wait a minute.
Are these the 6 biggest signets in history?
Shield. Mira's a shield.
Mira's a shield.
You have a fire wielder, water wielder. I wonder what claw would be. Sword.
Well, it's the shadow. She's a book. Assume she's a bug. Sword is probably Zayden. He's just really good at swords. Claw. It's claw. They're just, it's, there's something here. The pillar was sculpted in tribute to the goddess, sparkling gray effigy of her likeness of Dune. She holds a sword in her left hand and a shield on her right. And she's got a long braided hair.
America.
Like Captain America. If she was a woman. So she's got long braided hair and a long robe and armor chest plate. And there are blue robed attendants everywhere who rise through the temple stairs, and they all have silver hair. Everyone.
You don't say. Theophany had all silver hair.
She sure did. So then we get to this excerpt. It's public notice 200.417, if you need to know that. Transcribed by Rochelle Lightstone. Guardians are no longer permitted to dedicate their children in service to their favorite deity. The decision to serve the gods for life must be made after the age of majority, which I'm assuming is probably 16 or 18 or whatever. And it has to be the one of free will. So going into this, there at the temple, everyone has silver hair, no matter what shape, size, gender, skin color. And I'm thinking these are Targaryens and
but with silver
these
hair instead of, like, white
motherfuckers
hair.
up here. Yeah. And there's a group of kids.
I think of it kind of like a baptism, right? Like,
Yeah.
In certain religions, you can take your baby to be baptized, where the baby obviously doesn't know what's happening. It's the parents.
So they've outlawed it
right
till they are old enough to decide for themselves.
Correct.
And so she sees one of these kids that are helping out. Probably no older than about 10. She has brunette hair at the top and it fades into silver. She's like, oh my God. Oh my God. She looks just like me. She's got my hair.
Like,
Zayden, her hair. I need to talk to you. And she's just like, Tyrion's like, focus, analyze later, focus now. She's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Shit. So, the captain brings them in, and the captain from, Dune, brings them in and says that they want an audience for the queen. And of course, according to the laws, it's like trial by combat or whatever. It's
Dune.
So they picked the strongest warrior and then picked one of the quest squads. And so it was basically, it was Zayden. So he's up against this guy named Costa. And then lady goes around picking, and she's like, and you, it's Dane. They slice the wrist. They're like, yep, you bleed. You are now going to be fighting this person.
Is it like a blood oath that are like slice open and
sliced it,
rub it together?
I don't think so.
We shall
no.
fight.
No, they needed to bleed onto the temple floor, and that's how they're part of it. You're selected or whatever. So what's funny is when they started doing that, Dane's trying to translate, and it's like his Unreal is like a little rusty, and so he's like, "You either need to do this, or I think we need to do this." And Ark's like, "God damn it!" And he just translates for him. He's like, "They said you need to do this and this, and fight against this person, and your strongest person." God, and then Dane's like, "Are you fucking kidding me? You
knew this language perfectly
the whole time." He's just like watching him struggle, and he's like, "God damn it, let me just do it." Why is Dane here then? We didn't know Ark was that well versed in languages and
the Isles.
Languages of the Isles
that apparently no one has been to in centuries.
Violet should have known this, especially growing up with them. And I feel like Dane should have too. Anyway, so Arik tries to elect himself. He's like, I will fight. And they're like, no, you're a first year. You're going to get owned, but also you're a prince. And if something happens to Halden, you need to live. Yeah. You can't do this. And the priestess who's selecting the people comes down. She slices Zayden's arm and then Dane's. And what Violet knows is that she has a tattoo on her forehead. And it's Dune's emblem.
A tattoo on her forehead, you say?
She had noticed Theophany had a faded tattoo on her forehead when she ran into her at Basgaeus.
Right. Which didn't make sense because she was like...
She goes, it's faded and it looks familiar.
Right. But like faded to the point where like it was very, very old.
Has been decades.
Theophany was young looking.
It had been decades old. Faded to the point where it's unrecognizable and her stomach launches into her throat.
Is she pregnant? Is she gonna vomit?
No, but
She got morning sickness?
she said the priestess has the very old one.
Yeah.
And she was like, my stomach lurches into my throat. There's no way. And then she doesn't finish that sentence because Sharon's like, focus. But we think is theophany. Thunder sounds in the distance. And she's like, I can't wield here. That's right. She's like, I want my power back now. I don't want Zayden in this. And she's like, Zayden isn't the deadliest in this plaza. I am. So the priestess comes to her and she goes, you don't agree with Dune's ways? And her pupils are dilated. She's like,
Are they drugged?
They feed these people. Maybe it's the power.
Opium.
I'm wondering if the power of Dune just like makes them like
Little fentanyl.
takes them all, takes them over. She looks at Arik and she's like, you know what? Dune has not chosen you to prove your skill this day. You're safe. And then she goes to Violet and she's like, you're the smallest. She's like, Violet, did you choose this path yourself? She's like, what? I chose life. I chose my life. And Princess says, then it's good that we did not complete your dedication. Huh? What? My what? And the priestess says, do you not yearn for temple? This is what I feel like when they come to my door. What are they
Like the
called?
Mormons? Like Latter-day Saints?
Latter-day Saints, Mormons. They come to my door. And they're like, do you not yearn for temple? She says, usually the touch creates such longing, but you can't help but return. But perhaps you now favor another god. Priestess, what you talking about?
See, I have to go back and reread Fourth Wing and Iron Flame again after this, because how many times does Violet reference Malik? More than any other god.
This, in this one, they mentioned Malik like once or twice, but it's all Dune.
But
so
I don't think
all Malik.
I don't know how often Violet ever references Dune. I know like there's like think Dune, think Amari, but she mentions Malik a lot and stealing lives away from Malik and Malik.
Marsha. Right. We're going to get to the gods. I know she
go back and reread these again.
She's got something on the gods for us. So she's like, do you not yearn for temple? It will create longing that you can't help but return. And then she's like, perhaps you favor another god now. That ties in with what they had said earlier about her being touched and not dedicated. And she's like, what the fuck are they talking about? Taryn's like, focus, analyze later. And then the priestess says, I still see us among your potential paths. Should you decide to take it, Dune will accept you. It is not too late to choose her.
So like for her to become a priestess?
I like the rest of them, I'd assume.
Oh, this makes my brain hurt.
So I think Zayden represents Malik and Violet represents Dune. This is what I think I feel in my soul. Okay. She goes, I choose him. And she's looking at Zayden because she's not figuring out what the hell is going on. So be it. All right. She slices Violet's arm. All right, you're the weakest. You should also be tested today. So she faces this girl named Marlis. So Costa is against Zayden. Halta is against Dane. And Marlis is against Violet. 3 of them fight, right? It's intense fighting. Camping. Intense.
Camping AF.
Violet owns Marlis. Like, she takes her down. She's got her pinned on her stomach. She's got her leg up on her. She's holding her arms back in place. And her thighs and her wrists and her neck leg back. Like, light flashes in the sky because it's raining and there's a storm going on. There's lightning happening. And then there's lightning that comes down in that arena with them as well.
Feet from where they are, right? From them.
She's got her dagger pressed against the side of her neck, Marlis's neck, and like thunder rumbles. And she's like, yield now. And Marlis is like, never. And she's like, have you? She's like, perhaps, but Costa has him. She snaps to Zayden. Costa's got like a sword above Zayden. She's like, keep me pinned or help him. Choices. And of course, Dane's fucking passed out over there. So rage devours Violet, she says, storming through her veins. And she grabs her dagger and she's holding her up, got her pinned down, has a dagger, grabs one and just throws it at Costa. Like, no shit, in his arm to drop his sword so that Zayden's not in danger. She's like, fucking yield. What you got?
Oh my God.
Through her veins.
She is pure power.
Yes, that's what we said before.
She is pure power.
I think she's pure power. She needs to hone it, figure it
I
out.
think this storm was her.
It's
I don't
always storming with her.
I don't think she realizes it, but I think like with her emotions and everything, I think that was her. I think that lightning was her.
Strikes to the left and the right and cracks the rock. Cracks the fucking rock of the temple.
I think it was her.
How does it crack the rock? Something that's supposed to be indestructible. Marlis yields. Lightning cracks in the distance, fading away. And Zayden's like, was that you? She's like, no, that wasn't
girl,
me.
it was.
She's like, there isn't any magic here. But she goes, wait, but the heat, the anger, the snap that she had when she was pissed and raged. She's like, that's weird. No, I think it was just a coincidence. Or was it Dune? Dune didn't like this. I don't know. Marlis, she was like, I'm fine. And they're like, yes, Your Majesty, yes, Your Majesty.
They're like,
yes,
wait, whoa,
yes.
what?
Oh, shit, was that the queen? She goes, well, 2 out of 3, you earned your audience. It's like, oh, shit, my bad.
My
Bad. So then they get into the whole rigmarole, like, I'm seeking the 7th breed of dragon, and I need an alliance. Do you want to join our cause? And Marlis is like, well, we haven't seen fire breathers in centuries, but they've got fucking crossbolts that go every which angle along all the buildings. Very odd.
Wyverns?
Oh, shit. Yeah, maybe. Okay. She continues on about needing allies. Marlis is like, you can't afford our services. About like, try me, bitch. Marlis is like, how did you do that? And she's like, oh, best you? She's like, no. How did you do that? She points to the lightning. She's like, how? What do you mean?
Did she know she was a lightning wielder?
Well, if she thinks it wasn't a coincidence, then she probably thought that was from her. She's like, how'd you do that? She's like, there's no magic for me to wield. So she's like, and yet you destroyed something that has stood for 700 years before your arrival. Perhaps it is truly Zanal, god of luck, who blesses you. Good luck when you search that particular aisle. Her lightning, she noticed, was that you? It has destroyed something, the sacred stone that has stood for 700 years. That's older than when they had the Great War.
She knew that Violet was a lightning wielder.
Well, I think everyone knows that. Everyone everywhere knows that. Are you kidding me? They're like,
the news is just
social
spread,
media.
Like,
they're like, oh, okay, watch out for Violet. She's a lightning wielder right now.
They
they're
got
like,
TikTok
okay.
over there.
Right. Everyone knows that. But so how did you do that? She's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I think legit it was Violet. I think there is something about being God touched.
I think so too.
There is, my brain just can't connect the dots, but it is there.
The thing is, we will get to that. So she asks about alliance, and she's like, name your price. Marlis says, we want the same thing everyone in the Isles crave. Dragons. Because they have no magic. They don't have breeding grounds there. And she says, give me 2 of each kind, so 12 in total, and we'll be good. And she's like, highly doubt they're going to agree to that. They're like, well, based on the fact that everyone's going to get desiccated and whatnot, I don't think the dragons are going to mind. She's like, yeah, I will bring that up to the Empyrean.
But how do they know that everyone wants dragons?
These are the Isles. They all talk to each other. In Cortland.
My brain is like, okay, there's something there with them. Why they want dragons? Because with dragons come magic.
And that could be why.
Are they all Venin that have been living without magic? And that's why they're all muted, because the land is like regenerating?
Or it once was all desiccated and now regenerating. That's what I'm saying.
But are they all Venin? But is the land regenerating because it was
once strained? Okay. And here's this. It also gives us that bit of information when Halden was trying to broker a deal with King Cortland that they were trading magical artifacts. So they want magic there.
Right.
And they've been trying for it because they don't have eggs. So
magic?
Do you think King Cortland could be Venin because maybe he's using the magic and siphoning from, or not siphoning, but he's drawing from those items to be powerful and be young forever, to be the king, because they said he was very.
They said he was only a couple years, like he
older
looked
than
to
Xaden.
be only a couple years older than Xaden. So
and they
he's
thought
like
he was supposed to
25.
be old or something. So if he is immortal, he could be channeling from these magical artifacts that were traded back and forth from Navarre. Yeah, man. All right. That's a lot. Okay.
God, my brain just had like an explosion moment.
All right. We're getting there. No, we're not going to give you eggs. I'll tell the Empyrean. Yeah, right. And then she's like, well, whenever you're feeling desperate, come and visit us again. So just like the second Croveland uprising that was described, her dad was right. They weren't looking for feather tails because they were malleable. They want to bring up their own dragons and bring them up in their own environment. Okay. So she gets back to the rest of the group. They all get back to the rest of the group. And Mira's like, was that you? Did you yield? She's like, no, why does everyone keep asking me this? No, I did not. I didn't wield. My God. But she's like, but
did you?
She goes, but you're the only one that can speak to your dragons. And she's like, true. So then she asked Mira, she goes, this lady said some weird shit. When did my hair turn silver at the end? She's like, turn? It grew that way. She's like, what? Okay, well, I was dedicated. Oh, okay. Of course my parents didn't dedicate me. The practice was outlawed in the 200s. High priestess said some weird shit, but okay. Mira, I saw another girl with hair just like mine. Just like mine. And Mira's like, well, that's weird. It's not like we have family from the Isles. And Bow's like, I know, right? And then she goes, I never thought it was potentially being hereditary. And then she got distracted. She's always getting distracted.
Yeah.
And then that thought just eddied from her brain.
Yeah. Like, just use your scribe brain.
Use your scribe brain.
Use it. Anyways, so they rest and then they fly to the edge of Vidiris
or something like that.
Vidiris. So it's the cream-stoned capital of Hedotis. Hedotis is the Isle of Hedion, so the god of wisdom. Violet is super excited to visit this isle because the community is built on knowledge and peace. And she's like, oh my God, yes, please. This is like my favorite place in the whole entire world. But is it, Violet? The weather is a little bit colder and the vegetation is even paler than before. So the farther we're going out, the island colors are getting more muted as they go. She sits down next to a bramble bush and notes the 9-pointed leaves. And she's like, oh, this kind of looks like a tarsilla, but the bark is nearly white. Weird.
Man.
What? Taryn's like, perhaps magic weakens furthest from the continent ones gets. Although I'm not sure how much it can be less than non-existent in Andarna's.
I don't like this place.
You're like a teenage valley girl.
I'm thinking like we're like Laguna Beach type Andarna.
She's like, my kind would not settle here. Okay, Andarna,
we should leave.
Settle down. She does have great hunches. The weird thing about Hedotis is they don't have any ports there. So they have all of the trading vessels that are sitting out in the ocean, and they have the smaller or rowboats that are just taking the stuff to shore. I don't know why they don't have ports there. It's the Isle of Wisdom. So you would think that logically we should have ports for boats to come up to.
Where else do they get their goods? Where they trade?
Yeah, no, they make people row your boat. They have to go meet with the triumvirate.
Triumvirate. Is that how it's spelled?
You said triumvirate. It's fine. It's a group.
No, it's triumvirate. Oh, shit.
So they have to go meet with the triumvirate.
Triumvirate.
Whatever. We're just the T group. It's a group of 3 men, like their own little board of directors of 3 people, originating from ancient Rome and Julius Caesar, apparently. I did not put this in there. My lovely sister Ashley did.
Triumvirate?
No, whatever.
No, that's true. I had to look it up. It was like back Yes, originates from back to ancient Rome, where there was a trio of three
Men.
men. Julius Caesar, yes, was a part of the triumvirate.
Et tu, Brute. 3 noble people in power. So there are 3 nobles in this little group of men. Prager, who is the flyer healer, checks Zayden and Violet's wounds from, being sliced open and having to do combat. Violet notices a little like mouth-shaped wound, or shall we say hickey on his neck.
They've been sneaking off doing some shit.
Good for you. Him and Kat have been pretty flirty lately. Kat, are you the hickey type? Going off into the woods together to, I don't know, hunt. Violet looks over and is like, "Oh, weird. That's a dead
triumvirate,
dead bird here on the beach with like a
dead bird
beak. Weird." Also interrupted again because she can't maintain a thought process. Mira and Drake are over there arguing. Also, I hope Mira and Drake hook up. Maybe book 4.
Mira she's got some pent up anger. She needs some.
But you remember in Iron Flame, Serena's like, "Oh, you and Drake should get together." And she's like, "I don't do flyers."
Well, that was before.
Mira, get you some flyer action, girl.
Get something different.
Mm-hmm. So they're fighting about flight formation. That is like a mouthful. Fighting about flight formation, as I'm hitting and using my arms aggressively. Zayden's like, "Drake, you're starting to annoy me. You should stop that.
You should stop that." She's like, "Oh shit."
Okay, Zayden, was that you losing control, Zayden? Are you?
You should stop that.
You should stop that. He gets this iced over rage where it seems like he loses all humanity
in his space.
Is becomes a serial killer, I would imagine. Yeah. Garrick tenses and looks at Violet, and Violet's thinking, "That's fine. That wouldn't trigger it, right? It's fine. It's not vet and temper." It's fine.
I don't know what you're laughing. I just thought Ven and Temper was hilarious. I was like, Ven and Temper.
Yeah, just Ven and Temper. At that moment, they're met with the fashionable people of Hedotus. And this man who comes out claims he's with the Triumvirate. Is that what it is?
Triumvirate.
Triumvirate. I need to listen to the audiobook.
I did both.
Ferris. Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Except it's Ferris, Fergus, Ferris.
He starts saying some shit and acts exactly like the dude from Game of Thrones, where they show up and
the spice trader,
from the 13, who has received Daenerys, and he's like, "I have received you, and now you may leave."
Yeah, he's a fucking asshole. That's exactly what I thought he was.
Yeah.
"Well, I have received you. I do not have to take you in if I don't want to."
I do want to. I think you. Has weird purplish eyes.
Yeah, they all purple eyes.
I think that's.
They said it was something that they were eating or drinking to make them purple because they have such muted colors everywhere.
Right.
Drinking the water.
He's like, "Oh, you haven't very unusual eyes, not entirely green, blue, or gold, but an amalgamation of all." What a word. Amalgamation. I'm going to have to add that to my word repertoire. "My wife is fascinated by your dragons. Here, my love, here's my wife, Talia." Talia? Who the fuck is Talia? I don't know. Fucking Zayden's mom? Called that one. At the beginning of chapter 34, the excerpt says, "It has been at the experience of a lifetime to spend these months with others who value knowledge just as reverently as I do, but though their intelligence and their wisdom inspire me, their artifice terrifies me." And this is Hedotus, Isle of Hedion by Captain Asher Sorngale.
So now his name's turned back to Sorngale.
Now he's Captain Asher Sorngale, and he spent months on Hedotus. Weird. Witness protection program? I don't know. Their cunning and cleverness terrifies Asher. So because of their connection, Xaden and Talia, they all get to stay at Mama Ryerson's house. So she brings them food, and Violet is standing in the doorway, like super awkwardly. Xaden's hiding out somewhere in the room, and she's just like, here's a charcuterie board.
Charcuterie board.
With, some things on it. Can I speak to him? She's like, well, you know what? Like he's like really tired. He's gonna take a nap. So now's not really a good time. She's like, what, can you like please come to dinner with us? She's like, you know what? I'll talk to him and we'll let you know. Yeah, really weird. So she's like, if you meet with us, the whole triumvirate, whatever, the tea group. The board of directors are meeting,
the trio.
You'll be able to come and meet with everybody. And she's like, all right, we'll see. So she goes out on the balcony where Xaden's hiding out with the charcuterie board and like slides down to them when they're like eating her cheese and crackers. And he leans over and he's, yeah, so like these fell out of your pack, and it's the 2 vials of the signet blocking serum. And she's like, oh, shit. He's like, no, like, totally fine. Like, I understand things get real weird. I would expect you to use them.
The good part's obviously not.
Yeah. So she tries telling him about the dinner while they're like off watching Sigale. I guess they have a beach view from their balcony. And Sigale is just awkwardly pacing on the beach by herself. And for some reason, this just reminds me of Jack controlling Bade, and I don't know why.
Oh, no, don't say that.
I know. I don't want to think that, but
Could you imagine what was Bade doing the whole time when Jack was controlling her?
I don't
pacing?
I don't know, but I just feels like she's going a little bit crazy, and that worries me. That hurts my heart just a little bit.
I think it's just triggered.
Or she's just really affected by Xaden turning venom, and like maybe she's just super worried and like, super anxious that he might be triggered because of his mom.
Let's go to therapy.
That worries me. So she's very worried for him, obviously. Maybe their bond isn't detached like we all think he is. I don't know.
I don't think so.
And so Xaden's like, all this time I figured that she was living in Peromil. So is that where she originated from? We don't know. She never told me that she was from Hedotus. Yeah. Was she from Hedotus? We still don't know that.
We don't know.
Yeah. I wonder why she never had family to visit and why she was infatuated with all things colorful and bedtime stories. And they were told with armament tea and about people with purple eyes.
Interesting, because, well, that's what I'm trying to figure out, because she wanted something different. But she was entered into a contract with his dad.
Right.
So I feel like she is from this area.
Yeah.
But the question is she in love with Ferris, or is this another contract scenario?
But Xaden agrees that they do need to go to the dinner because obviously they have to get information. We're watching Sigale pace.
He's like, I'm sorry we can't get you to a mender because she's injured from her ribs and stuff.
Oh, from the fighting.
He's like, yeah, it's fine. I'll heal.
And, obviously there's no magic there. And then she says, in a life without magic, the best medicine is time.
Are they going to get rid of magic?
I think so.
Because would that fix venom, or would they desiccate?
So Kat and Traeger are getting all close on the beach. They're getting all cuddly and, whatever. Still pacing. Rewinding back to, like, Iron Flame. Talia was married to Fen Ryerson. She was contracted for 10 years. And the whole point was so that, like, there could be an heir. And once he reached the age of 10, meaning Xaden, like, the contract was over and she could do whatever she wanted. And when he was 10, she fed him chocolate cake, and we know chocolate cake is like his favorite
his birthday,
food,
yeah,
right? Fed him chocolate cake, and then she left.
So rude.
So sad. So he lays out his emotions for Violet, and he has no problem using the board of directors.
Sure. Right?
To get what they need. And he's like, it has nothing to do with this. Points to his eyes. I'm aware when I lack emotions. You and Garrick don't need to share. Oh no, glances. Like, so like he is fully aware of,
but he chooses to do it anyway. If he's fully aware.
He makes the comment. He was like, I already feel it. He's like, I feel like it's like sliding over a frozen lake while shrinking parts of me screams. So his whole feeling or whatever is just icing everything out. And he's like, I'm supposed to be swimming in these pieces that I've bartered away, and these feelings are just beneath the surface. And it's like everything's freezing over. And he's like, it's a hell of a lot less messy, like not feeling anything. Like if I can just shut it off, it's a lot less messy. And he's like, this shit, all of this shit that I'm dealing with, like my mom over here, like this is messy and painful and infuriating. And if I could choose to like not do this, I like, so help me Malik, I would give all of this away to not have to feel any of this stuff. And he's like, I get it now. It's not just the power that's addicting. It's the freedom to not have to feel any of this shit. But you know what? That's life, Zayden. This is life. Having to deal with
He needs a therapist.
Fucking deal with it. You can't just shut it out and pretend it's not there.
What a lot of people do. Here's the deal. I just put something together. You just said that he said all the pieces he's bartered away and those feelings are right beneath the surface. They're not gone. They're not gone.
They're just buried.
They're not gone. You got to break the ice. Get off the ice.
Got to break the ice.
Okay. Okay.
Pure power.
Sam, what comes next?
Okay. Oh my God. So Sigale is still like all like weird and growly mad. And Zane's like, you need something.
See? Because their bond isn't gone.
Yeah. Right.
Eat something already. I'm all right.
Right. So I messed up. This is where the two little boys are running out. And she nearly steps on one of them, Sigale, because like she just doesn't give a fuck, and that's totally fine. That's Talia. And like, boys, Talia. Okay, so these are Zayden's brothers. Great. The eldest is 11. And she's like, no wonder she never returned. She started a whole new fucking family. I'm over here like chopped fucking liver. Thanks, Mom. Anyways, yeah, I would gladly trade away the emotion.
She was to trade away this emotion. For me, I think it hurts, but we know hurt. But damn, if Zayden can't ever control his fucking emotions.
But this is funny coming from the one who had like super self-control.
Yeah.
To the point where
he's not around Violet.
He's not able to.
But also not around other sources where he can channel from. He doesn't have control there or with Violet. Is Violet part Venom?
She's pure power. I don't know. So Violet, she's like, you know what? Like the pain, the mess, all of it. She's like, give it to me. I will hold it. I know that sounds ludicrous, but I will find a way. I will hold everything that you don't want to feel because I love every part of you. And Zayden says, oh my God, this like gives me chills. You already hold my soul and now you want my pain.
Yes. What have I been saying?
Venom, when they channel, they lose pieces of their soul. Zayden says, you already hold my soul and now you want my pain. Venom, when they channel, lose their soul.
What have I been saying since day one? She is Dune and holds his soul, or she's part of every fucking god.
Right. And
she's been touched by every god, is what I think.
There's something, like I said, my brain cannot connect all of the dots, but there's something there. You already hold my soul. Maybe not the whole soul, a piece of the soul. A piece. Getting greedy violence. Yeah, gave it.
He's not there.
And then it's not there. Gave them a med kit. It has a bunch of shit into it. And she was like, what can I use out of here to make sure that I have the upper hand? And Darna, keep your eyes on these boys. Wherever they go, you go.
Follow them.
Follow them. And Darna's like, scheming. I love scheming. What's happening?
I do enjoy scheming.
Violet and Mira find Talia in the dining room, and she's like, "Oh my god, yes, dinner sounds great. There's gonna be 6 of us. Here's a piece. Oh, 6. Oh my god, 6. There's another 6.
Fucking 6.
Here's a peace offering to make it feel we're at home. Here's some Aaron mint tea."
Xaden likes Aaron mint tea.
So at the dinner, you have Nayari, Rosalind, and Ferris. So these are the board of directors, the triumvirate.
The triumvirate.
Whatever. And then you have Ferris's wife, Talia, aka Xaden's mom. You have Violet, Xaden, Ara, Kat, Mira, and Garrett. And then they're like pulling off the things of the food. They're like, "Oh God, don't be ahead, don't be ahead, don't be ahead."
I know, right?
Not ahead.
Because Anna wouldn't share.
Yeah. They served the tea, the Aaron mint tea that Violet brought. And Rosalind's like, "So how do you find our city?" And Mira's like, I mean, not at all. I haven't seen it. So maybe it'll change tomorrow. I don't know. After we pass the test, of course. Because, Violet's not dumb. So they notice so many young royals at the table, and yet none are contracted to another to unite the kingdoms. And they know that Xaden is now the Duke of Tyrrendor. And Kat is third in line for the Paromial throne. Arik is a prince. They value wisdom above anything because that is their god. And so they think that an alliance with another powerful person, like via marriage, is wise. And so Xaden's mom was confused why he was not engaged to Kat.
Still, because I think he was supposed to be engaged. He was contracted to be engaged to her while she was still there. So she knew that when he was at least 10, perhaps. She goes, "Why are you not still engaged to her? When did this break off?"
Then Xaden's like, "You know what?
Mom, if I can call you that."
And that's what your real name is. I don't owe you any explanation about my love life. Bye, Felicia." And then he's like slowly eating, and everybody's just staring
eating
at
a
him.
potato. Oh, and I think he like extends like his arm out behind like Violet
and is like,
potato with a fork.
Yeah. And so then Kat breaks the silence, and she's like, "For fuck's sake." So I said yes. He said no. He met Violet, and now they're them. What else do you want?
Them.
End of story. And then she's like, the two of them could break and reshape the continent if they choose to, because they're the two most powerful riders on the continent. And obviously, Kat's with Trigger because of size hickeys on his neck and whatnot. Violet immediately realizes that they're not judging, and they're just dissecting their life choices. They're not judging people. They're just like,
dude, Mira figured that out too. She's like, "You're not fucking judging us on what we're doing."
Yeah.
Mira, smarter than we thought.
Ferris and Rosalind agree that it would be wise to have those two, Kat and Xaden, contract marriage for like 3 to 4 years, pop out an heir or two, and then they go on their merry little way. And Xaden's like, "Draw up the papers." And Ferris is like, "Great. Should we do 3 or 4 years?"
I was like, "What?"
Yeah, right? Yeah. And they're all like, again, like he's grown like 10 extra heads. He's like, "Lifetime. Anything less is unacceptable." And Violet is like she's like freaking out, like a little panic. She's like, "Wait, what?" And then he's like, yeah, her full name is Violet Sorengale, 2 R's. He's like, "Do you like my last name? It's tied to the title, but we could totally take yours." Right? And she's just,
dude, Arik is in the background just like eating his shit, like not giving a shit what's going on here.
Garrett like just chimes in. He's like, "Combine them, like Ryergale, Sorensen." Okay, Garrett. It's like he's like having like the Riddick-sized jokes here.
Right.
Yeah, Xaden just goes off on his mom about how she left, and he had to do everything himself, including watch his father die. Great job, Talia. Mira states in the interview, and
"When let me take you with me."
Yeah. Also, like, he's the heir to Tyrrendor, so like, why would he let you take him?
Well, that's why he didn't Go.
Mira's sitting there. She's like, well, we know this interview ended before it even began. You were never going to share your knowledge. And Nyari's like, yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, this is never going to happen. But that's the first piece of wisdom I've heard here. Yeah. And they have these weird stones that they have and they place it in front of their plates.
Like House of the Dragon, they little stones.
What is that?
She puts it in front.
Yeah.
It's in front of her plate.
She's like, well, you guys don't even know the name of your own continent. Like, yeah, it's the fucking continent. Like, what?
They call it the continent. But Arik pipes up and is like, oh, it's Amaralis. Val's like, oh shit, I should have fucking known that. That's what that lady said. It was called as, what do you Amaralis say? It's Amaralis. Oh shit. Well, Amari. Okay, that makes sense. And then the lady's like, oh, well, you're quiet. He's like, well, I prefer to keep my mouth shut until I understand the rules of whatever game is aiming at my throat. I was like, good on you, Arik. But he just sit there silently, just eating the whole time. Anyway, he's like, it helps me judge character and acumen of opponent. And honestly, I find you lacking and not sure that I want to be. I don't want you for an ally. You have no army. You're stingy with this very thing that should be free, which is knowledge. So why are we here? So they're about to serve dessert, right? And Rosalind's like, she sets her stone in front of her plate and like, what the fuck is this stone? They need it. Ferris' stone as well. You need all three. Narari, one of the triumvirate, was like, please tell me you've done something with that chocolate Talia has been like hoarding for weeks. And she's like,
they knew they were coming.
Dude. So then the guards or the staff or whatever come in and they put down their plates of chocolate cake. And she's like, Talia's like, oh, it's still your favorite, right? I know your birthday isn't until next month, but you're here now. So let's eat some cake. And like, I've tried 4 different versions and this one is like the best one. And then Ferris, triumvirate, her husband, was like, oh, chef, you've forgotten our forks. Those 4 forks are not there, but the others are there. And so he's like, please don't wait on our account. And Val's like, wait a minute. She's been hoarding chocolate for weeks, right? She's like, oh, fuck. They knew they were coming. There's something wrong. There's something in the cake. So the Zayden, who grabs Zayden's like knee and she's like, no, you do it. And then she looks at her and she's like, and then she looks down. She's like, Arik, like, don't fucking do it. Don't fucking do it. Kat drops her. She's like, I know what's going on. They look down at Garrick and he's like, huh? He's already down like a fourth of it or like a third of it. And he's like, this tastes weird.
So the best thing I have seen on TikTok was the meme of like the little kid that's like eating. All of a sudden, the kid just stops
Matilda?
and is like, "Ew!"
Oh my god! So he keels over. He's not breathing. They're like, oh my god, we need help. And then Violet calls Terrence like, we need the others. Get in the quest squad. Quest squad. And she's like, what did you put in the cake? So it was Varys, not Zayden's mom like we thought.
Yeah.
She was innocent after all. She's like, oh my god, what happened? I don't understand. Varys is like, So they're trying to save Garrick. Violet turns to Varys is like, this is the part where I tell you I've already killed him. He's like, what are you talking about? He's killed over. I'm perfectly fine. She's like, what do you fucking think we served you in that goddamn tea? The tea that is supposed to be outlawed and is not allowed to be exported. Because that mixed with other things makes bad connections. And there was something that like Brennan had in the bag that she mixed with, and it makes it like lethal, right? She's like, in the next 40 minutes, you're going to be killing over, vomiting everything that you have up. Once you start vomiting blood, it's too late. And he's like, you're bluffing. Am I? And then Naira, or whatever her name is, one of the triumvirates, like over, she's like retching. She's like, oh shit, that was way too soon. And Mira's like, she had 2 cups. And she's like, oh fuck. All right, it's happening. Now you know.
But they all drank it, though.
They all did. All of them. But so on that part, all of them, as in the writers and flyers, Quest Squad, they induced the antidote beforehand. So they're good. They're like, oh, we already took care of ourselves.
Yeah, we fine.
Y'all are not.
Ooh.
Unless you tell me what's in that goddamn poison for Garrick and the chocolate cake, y'all gonna die. He's like, I don't care. You're gonna die? Just not telling us you want to die? I don't understand. It's like, The staff knows what happened here. Staff knows. Guess what else? The fucking cook.
Does Violet has some precog? Like, how did she know, that something was going to go down, to have the foresight to be able to be like, okay, you know what? I need to poison everybody, but we need to take an antidote ahead of time. But we need to poison everybody because they're going to try to kill us. Or did she discern all that from
I think she just knew some shit was going to go down.
the journals?
So she's like, okay, what the fuck was in this cake? And he's going to die instead of tell him. So she's like, Taryn says, stop asking him. Mira and the Flyers are around the premises, locking down the house, keeping everyone inside and making sure the shit doesn't get viral or whatever. Dane grabs Violet's dad's journal. She's like, I need his journal. Riddick follows Violet into the kitchen. They interrogate the cook, and he's like, oh, no, please, I have kids. His nails are coated blue. She's like, okay. Oh, what did my dad say? Oh my God, the dead birds with the fermented fruit. Oh, they're blue. Okay. Oh, overripe fruit. The cook is like, how about you? She's like, she's got a dagger. Riddick's like, oh, well, that's unfortunate. There's a dagger. So she's like, shit, I'm going to stop the flow of blood. She's putting her hands there. She's like, oh my God, please don't. And he pulls it out and he's like, oh, that sucks. And there's like nothing there. She's like, it went through his fucking jacket and that was it. Oh my God. We all thought Riddick was going to die.
I thought Riddick fucking die. I was like, no.
You said your favorite line. My favorite line was he pulls the cook and he goes, I hate fucking hate. I hate sewing is what he said. Oh my God, my favorite. So good. He goes, Violet, I want a patch for this shit. It's a Quest Squad patch. You understand? Squad patch. I want a patch for this shit.
Riddick.
So
he cannot die in this series and not die.
You know what?
He has to make it to the end.
He might. She's got Dane grabbed her journal, the dad's journal. She's looked at her. She's like, oh, the birds. Okay. It's okay. I need figs. Or lemon or whatever. Hey, there's figs in this fucking thing right outside my door. Dane, go grab it.
You grab my charcuterie board.
Go grab my shit. What's funny is they give it to Garrick and finally shove it down his throat. And he's like, this is my least favorite aisle. He wakes up like, oh, okay, he's fucking alive. Zayden's really pissed. She's like, you calm the fuck down. Shoves Ferris against the wall. She's like, you poison him, you try to poison her. This is not edible. And then Riggs like, hey man, you need to calm down. Whoa, man, we can't kill potential allies. And Dave's like that on ice. And he's like, oh fuck. But it's like, stop. Get off the ice right meow. Right meow. Get your shit together and come back to me. The fuck just happened? Violet bested Ferris by she's like, even if you die, we'll usher in new authority. And everyone's going to know because all these people here are witnesses. They're all going to know what happened. You got bested. So no wisdom here. Am I right? In your own home. Am I right? And you asked why there are only 6 dragons outside and the 7th one? Well, I just sent the 7th one to go fucking stalk your goddamn sons that you sent away because you knew some shit was going to happen here tonight. Also, she's here in the window staring while your boys are sleeping. You're lying. Is she? Let me mind with my dragon. Nope. They're right there sleeping with their blah, 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 blah. Their blah, 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 blah. And then she's like, would you like the antidote? Or would you like to make a deal? He's like, fucking fine.
Deal or no deal?
Deal or no deal? He's like, I should have recognized your eyes. You're Asher Daxton's girl.
Wait a minute. He said you're Asher Daxton's girl? The excerpt says
he already has had kids under the alias of Daxton.
Because he said that Hedotus, Isle of Helium by Captain Asher Sorengale.
That's interesting information. Get the fuck out. We just pissed everyone off. There's no lines. There's nothing here. We made it away with our lives. And that's about it. We're not welcome back here again. So they fly to the next aisle, only to be greeted by happy people and children waving. They're like waving them down like, yeah. Very odd. Very odd. The aisle is green. It's green. It's the Isle of Zilnia. Zilnia. The god of Zinal, the god of luck. Okay. The island has magic. Not too much, but enough that they all have their bonds back. And then one of the writers was like, oh, you had it itch the whole time? It was itching underneath the griffin. And they were just laughing, being all gay and amazing. So Then Zay's like, Violet, promise me you'll never get in between me and another person again. And it was about when he was about to go off on Riddick when she was like, get off the ice.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I will
Yep.
not. You cannot hurt anyone. I will be the one that shuts you down. So Traeger's like, oh, this is my favorite aisle.
Oh, Traeger says this is his favorite.
His favorite aisle. And Riddick interrupts their moment and says, oh shit, there's an emissary headed this way. She comes in. Welcome to Zelna. I am Calixia, mistress of today's festivities. What the fuck kind of festivities are you talking about?
This also gave me very much like Game of Thrones vibes.
Yeah.
I'm your like a mistress of activities for the day.
So Arik, of course, knows the language more than Dane. And he's like, I got this. But she speaks the common tongue, which is the common tongue of what they know. We would like to speak with your queen. Of course. But first, she says, we must see what gifts Zinal has chosen for you. Zinal. But first, we must see what gifts Zinal has chosen for you. They're like, what the fuck? If you're willing to play and accept what gifts that god of luck presents you with, without complaint, then you'll be granted to our city where our queen awaits. And Mira's like, I don't care if she hands you a steaming pile of goat shit. There's no complaining. Smile and thank her. You got it? And I'm like, okay, yes, ma'am. Yeah, yes, ma'am. No complaint. Lady. So Calixia pulls out a deck of cards. I'm like, okay, there's this guy brings the table over, plops it down, and he's got a deck of cards. Okay, fun. What the fuck is going on here? Meanwhile, there's a bunch of people just watching. Each card represents a gift, am I right? So first up, Mira. She gets a wine card. She gets gifted wine. Awesome. Yes, please.
Did she get a bottle of Intrinsic?
Don't know. Marin gets 2 orange tunics. All right. Orange. Yeah, 2 orange tunics. Dane picks a card. It's got a hand on it. A woman comes up. Slash Shem. His head spins. Can you imagine Zayden being like, you deserve that?
And Dane's like, thank you.
Thank you. If they had to say thank you after everything. Thank you. Handprint. Garrick gets a rusty bucket. Fun. Arik receives a fractured hand mirror, and the guy hands it to him backwards. So he's like, thanks. And Zayden gets an empty glass box. Cool. Violet gets a compass that doesn't point north.
It doesn't seem to work.
She's like, well, this doesn't work. And the guy goes, use it wisely. She's like, great. And then in their mind, she's like, it's a broken compass. He's like, great. You can put it in my box of nothingness and we'll keep it on the bedside table. And then Riddick gets, pulls a card of red lips. So this guy comes up to him and plants 2 kisses on him.
He would. Riddick would.
Thank God. Thank God. Think Amari. I'm sorry.
Think Amari.
Or
Zinal. We have to thank Zinal.
Right. Kat is given a giant ruby gold necklace. Giant ruby. Ooh, maybe it's foreshadowing. And then Drake, Kat's cousin, draws the claw card. I'm like, what the fuck? He gets a fucking little kitten. An orange cat. A little cute kitten. I gotta feed his shit. Lastly, Traeger, Kat's love boyfriend or whatever, yes, pulls the arrow card. I was like, an arrow? They launch an arrow straight through his heart. Immediately turns around, dead. Traeger's dead. God, it was like, I knew it couldn't be that good. I knew something was going to happen. Kat, trying not to react, just outbursts. Drake grabs her, stifles her,
his hand over her mouth.
Yeah. And all of the dragons and griffins are just distraught, especially the griffins. They're like, oh my God, you're not supposed to react. You're not supposed to have emotion. She's like, or else if you want to meet with our queen, it's off. It's off. So Kat's crying in Drake's hand, basically. Oh my God. and his griffin, Traeger's griffin, Silurian, can't remember how to pronounce that, fumbles forward because he's dying. Because if your flyer dies, the griffins die too. So the griffin's stumbling forward, trying to get to his body, like she can reach it, and dies before she reaches Traeger's body. But they get an alliance of 40,000 troops out of it, so I guess that's good. That's awkward. At that point, they decide, Cat's like, we need to burn their bodies. That's what we need to do. They need them in Malik. They need to burn their bodies. They're like, okay, we're not going to do this here. Hey, there's the map. I think what we have is there's some like unnamed isles over here. We're just going to we're going to go over here real fast and we're going to burn them. They all get over there. They burn them, take some time off their trip for a second. It's like, she's like, it's 3 days. It's not a big deal. It's fine.
Right. And I think they like can't leave until the fire completely burns out.
Until it burns out completely. Right? So at this point, they decide, hey, let's search these random weird isles that are on the map. Violet is like, me and Reddick will stay. We'll make sure the fire's out. You guys go divvy up and search these other isles. Like, okay, that sounds great.
Which I think these isles were not on any maps that they had.
It was not.
They were on maps that they had gathered while visiting the isles.
Correct. They're just like off in a distance, and they're there. And they're like, okay, let's go here. What I noticed in this part, Violet says to herself, she's wallowing in self-pity, right? And she's like, the lump in my throat grows, and I'm torn between the pathetic instinct to wallow in self-pity and the opposing yet growing urge to channel a power greater than Terrence, anger. Why? She is wallowing in her own self-pity, and she has a growing urge to channel more than his anger. You don't use channel unless you're channeling, because if you wield, you wield. So it is interesting for Violet to say something like that. So she has an urge to channel instead of wield.
Ooh, I don't think I caught that when I read through it.
Notice that when they went to these unmarked isles, their magic is still there because it's obviously close to Zinal's isle,
or another magic
too.
Source.
And maybe the magic's a little bit more there. So my theory still is that there's power in the sky, or just she still has not lost her actual power, not her bonds. But the fact that she says, I have an inkling to channel from something other than anger, than Terrence's anger. Channel. You don't use channel unless you're channeling. And you wield because you wield.
Interesting. Well,
so Xaden's like, man, you have to live in your confidence. You're better than me. Be better than me. You have to be. You promised to help me to protect Tyrandor. Remember? There is no cure for me. That's why you have to become better than me. There's only you. Does he fucking know? Sam?
I don't know. They find an outer isle with like black looking sand, uninhabited. And I think these are like islands are a lot smaller where like you could probably walk across them in like 30 minutes and they're done. There's more magic there. So they commend Traeger and Sila's souls to Malik. And after resting, they're checking the map. Mira's holding the kitten, Broccoli.
They named Broccoli.
They named it Broccoli because, nobody likes broccoli, but they need broccoli. They need broccoli. So is broccoli going to continue in the story? We don't know.
I hope so. But Broccoli has a signet.
Yeah. Drake named her Broccoli. The name just seemed fitting, according to Drake. They decide to search the other islands around this one. They wanted to get it done before the end of the day is through. So everybody paired off, like you said. So Xaden went with Garrick.
Just you and me, honey bear.
So that Garrick can keep an eye on him. And I think he took the serum with him. Oh, there's magic here, so he could be tempted to channel. Xaden says to her, I mean, when I say you own my soul, you are the only place I feel completely like me anymore.
Violet has his soul, man. I don't think he can actually lose it going in.
Yes. Yeah. So Taryn is extra curmudgeon-y, like extra, and especially about being separated from Sigale. And they're like, oh my God, she'll be back tonight. You'll be fine. Settle down, old man. And he's like, I'll be the same when you've been able to communicate with your mate for weeks and are deprived by choice. Humans don't mate, but do they?
Why
do
their bond is that completely separate?
Okay. So Violet witnesses a strange occurrence of Riddick and Atrum, and Atrum gets his boots wet. These two are so funny. It's like, oh my God. So yeah, he's like, why are you such a dick? I brought one pair of boots. And then he like sprays him from top to bottom. And Rick is like, that's not fair. I'm still winning. It's like, what's happening here? Is there a competition? And like, there's like a pause. And he's like, because we're on a mission. I was like, get it back at me because I won the last round.
I was like, what the fuck?
Like, I enough itching powder to fill a bucket and then dropped it between his scales a few weeks ago.
He's been dealing with this shit the whole time they've been on mission.
Yeah, he's like been itching and not been able to do anything. Oh my God. These two, like, I can't even. Oh my God.
The whole time.
Yeah, the whole time. So he goes from
itching powder. What is this? What is this? The Weasleys?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, like Weasley's not scenarium. Like, I don't scenariums in my head. I don't even fuck about it. Anyway, yeah, so like he goes off to change and Violet's like snuggling up next to like little sleeping Darna. She's not little though. The whole ground shakes and all of a sudden there's like dragon tracks. Like they can't see anything and they see dragon tracks and she's like, what the fuck is happening right now? And then all of a sudden like a giant pair of like dragon nostrils are breathing on Violet and showing giant teeth. 6 dragons, 6, all appearing in different shades in front of them. The Irids have shown up. All of them are like talking to Violet in her mind, and she's like, "What the fuck is happening right now?" They talk about like this like weird whistling noise, and I'm like, "What does that even mean?"
Makes you hear them.
So like, and Darna immediately gets like super like aggressive, protective. She's like, "Back the fuck off! Who are you?" And they're like, you speak our language? We are magic. Like, what? Okay. This came to my head. And Darna was left behind. Was she the one keeping the magic on the continent?
Well, she's gone now, so there's no magic there. And her egg is also gone, so there's still magic there.
But like, maybe it will like fade. But like, was she the one tethering the magic to the continent?
I don't know. But here's the deal. If their isles are closer together, they would be able to power the isles because they're not that far apart. But they're not.
They're like having this like little convo here, and they're talking to Indiana, and she is saying that she's from Navarre, and she is the Criterion, whatever the fuck that means.
Criterion.
Yeah, so they told her that she was left to gauge how the humans and the other dragons have changed from the past. So they purposely left her back there 650 years ago.
To see how humankind have fared.
How everybody's like progressed and like hopefully not like kept their ways from back then. And so like Violet and Riddick are signing back and forth so that like they're not being heard.
Because they're like, we're right here. Don't be fucking rude. So they're like, let's sign.
We're going to sign.
Blah, blah, blah.
Back and forth. And Atrum and Taryn arrive to make sure that like no one's going to harm the humans. So they're all sitting down like there's cross applesauce. It's story time and tell us how everything has come to be. And so Darna is talking about like, okay, when I was in the shell, like this happened and I chose to hatch and in and out of consciousness and talks about like presentation and how Violet is a part of her and vice versa. And you undervalue our connection.
Rushing.
Yeah. And the female Irid is like, okay, I'm sorry. My bad. And Riddick's like, wow, this breed apologizes? Like, what?
We should have held out for that shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
They fucking apologized?
Yeah. They find out there's hundreds of Irids, not just a couple. There are hundreds of them.
They say that, but we've only seen 6 of them.
Right. Yeah. So they're telling that.
Where?
And he's got like the swirl patterns on his horns that look just like Yandarna. Okay. And she's like, so then I flew into battle and yeah. And they're shocked and that Violet let her do this. And Violet's like, oh, I didn't let her do this. She uses you. She took advantage of a vulnerable child and she used your power and as an instrument of warfare and forced your premature growth. And look what you become. What did you do to your tail? Like, they're all feather tail. All adult grown irids are all feather tailed.
That's true.
And she chose the scorpion tail. She chose the scorpion tail because Violet was poisoned.
Yeah.
You handed this human something far more dangerous to wield.
What? What is that?
What did you hand her?
What did you give her?
What did you do?
The whole fucking book is what did you do?
Yeah, what did you do?
Just named it that.
So they like just won't help. So Xaden and Garrick show back up and the male Irid, they're like, oh, you know, all the humans should just perish. It's fine.
Land will regenerate.
The corrupted ones will devour the lands, and then when they're
won't they die?
When they're faced with starvation, then they will confront the evil that they've become and
confront the evil they become. You didn't say anything about them dying.
Oh yeah, confront the evil.
They'll confront the evil they become.
Right. So at that point,
they'll die.
Two things will happen. They will either die off or the land will regenerate and they'll confront the abominations they've become and change. Two things will happen. There is no cure.
That's it.
There is no cure.
But they will confront it. Maybe that is the cure.
The soul is not kept by the earth as dark wielders steal its magic. The power exchange kills the soul one piece at a time, and death has no cure.
They said death has no cure. They just said there's no cure, but they didn't say venism has no cure. They said there's no cure.
Yeah. She's like, his
one piece at a time.
Yeah.
Death has no cure. That's specific. That is specific.
That is very specific. That is very, very specific.
Rebecca.
His soul isn't dead.
Nope.
So they sign back to Garrick and Xaden as they approach because they don't want to like talk and speak. And they said that she's not welcome to their island. And basically, you can't sit with us, fucking mean girls.
I know.
We were picked on Wednesdays. And Darna is a teenage whiny voice. And we say never met you.
Which I never met you.
Yeah. And then Leothon, I can't even pronounce half these names in here. The one that looks like Darna finds out that Violet did not know she was an adolescent when she bonded. She was like, I had no fucking idea. Like, we don't know anything about Feathertails. Like, she bonded me. And then the female Irid sees Xaden and reveals the red in his eyes. And like, when I saw this, I was like, oh my God, he channeled while they were out. Like, what the F? And she's like, you're an abomination. And your kind is beyond redemption. And then they all fucking leave. And Darna, Disney princess, runs into the forest crying. She had such hope for like meeting her family. And the way that they treated her made me so sad.
She was so excited, but she's like, I'm going to sit down and tell you my whole story.
It made me so sad for poor Darna. And yeah, so Taryn goes after her. Xaden walks off and slams down his shield. And Riddick is like, what the fuck? What the fuck? You and I, Violet, you and I, go take a little walk and we're going to have a little toxie-poo here. I saw his fucking eyes. And you're going to come clean right meow. Right fucking meow.
Right fucking meow.
Right fucking meow.
I think we will end it there because we do have the last part of the book. So we had a lot to process this time. A lot of reoccurrences, but also a lot of new information and revelations. We will dive into the last part of the book for the next episode. Thank you for chiming in with us this time. I hope you enjoyed the nice rundown of what happened in our weird mind workings. Sam?
Oh man. Like I don't even know. Like I need everybody to just go read a fucking book.
Oh, read a fucking book. Even if it's not this one, read a fucking book. But this is taking a lot off my mind. It's a lot. I'm ready to put my mind at ease for a little while. But it's gonna be a minute. It's gonna be a minute. All right, cheers. I finished mine, so
enjoy. You're out of. Oh my god! I can't believe you drank.
I did it.
Oh my,
it was so good. It was so good.
I still have a quarter of a bottle
delicious.
left. Yeah, a quarter of a glass left. So it's fine. All right. Cheers, everybody.
This has been Pages and Poor Decisions. Read a fucking book. We'll see you next time.
Bye.